Welcome back to another episode of Treknicity Live, that show where I get online and I talk about everything to do with Star Trek. Yeah, well, you know, as always here on Treknicity Live, no topic is taboo. I'm Lars de Scenza, your host, coming to you from somewhere beyond the cosmos, or perhaps Southern California. I can't tell the difference right now. And as you can see, joining me again is my hetero life mate and fellow Red Shirt Geek, Patrick Murray. Say hi, Patrick.
Nanu.
How many fingers am I holding up?
That's not funny.
That's not very damn funny. That's the line. Come on. Get with it. Come on.
Yeah, I knew what the line was. I just couldn't remember exactly because I didn't write that one down.
In this episode, we are going to be talking about Star Trek Thrace.
Star Trek 3, The Search for Retcon.
That's right.
Wait.
Star Trek 3, The Search for... Wait. Hopefully, we'll meet again in Star Trek 3, The Search for More Money.
Nope, this is The Search for Spock because, oops, we killed off Spock and we got to get him back.
Yeah. Well, now, bear in mind, okay, it's important to note that when they were writing Star Trek 2 and they were enticing Leonard Nimoy to come back and play Spock because he didn't want to after Pajama Fest, they basically they had to basically be willing to kill Spock in order to get him back for Star Trek 2. However, seeing the reaction to Spock's death, they were able to entice him back with more money and
directorial debut.
Directing the movie.
Yeah.
But they got him back. They knew they knew with the success of Star Trek 2, they had to do another Star Trek movie, and it wasn't going to be the same without Leonard Nimoy involved. So they found a way to write his character back in. Actually, the whole point of, you know, like when you saw the Crotcher scene from Star Trek 2, that was added at the very, very end, like after it went to test audiences. So here we are in Star Trek 3, where we see Spock come back.
Yeah, but we start with Star Trek 2's footage of Spock's death and shooting him off to the Genesis planet. We get Spock voicing over the space, the final frontier, and yada yada. And we go into Star Trek. We start with Star Trek 3 that way, with which obviously Leonard Nimoy is directing since he's not on camera for the most part. I mean, he lays there once and then he is in the end scene. That's about it.
Pretty much.
We get more of the James Horner music, and it's awesome. And this movie came out in 1984, which is awesome.
1984.
Because by this point, the best movies ever made, some of the best space movies ever made, Star Wars, were already done. And we were going to get no more until, unfortunately, Episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to satisfy ourselves with Star Trek movies, which is a really, really mixed bag. Of course, we'll have to have the discussion when we get to Star Trek 5, whether Star Trek 5 or Episode 2 is the worst movie. But we'll get there when we get there. Mm-hmm. So we roll the credits. Instead of sitting and watching boring credits for 2, 3, 4 minutes, we actually start with something, and then the credits roll as we have just seen that gut punch of Wrath of Khan, which is the most emotional parts of the movie. So we come to the Enterprise, limping home. Kirk's wandering around with a monologue playing over him, saying, "Oh, it's all empty in here and sad because Spock's dead. Oh, I am sad, I am sad, I am sad." Yada, yada. We discover that Scotty, whenever he gives an estimate for repairs, always multiplies by 4 so he can be a miracle worker.
Of course.
That's the big one.
Then, of course, we have what we have is there's a break-in in Spock's quarters aboard Enterprise.
That comes up soon. But first, we cut to a fugly-looking transport, which, of course, we reveal a Klingon woman on there, and she sends a transmission. And suddenly, we have the first appearance of the bird of prey as it decloaks and is big compared to this crappy little transport.
And okay? Now that ship was the Monarch, the Monarch Butterfly, or the Monarch class freighter. I believe the Klingon female was Valkyris.
Yep.
And then, of course, this is the first appearance of Christopher Lloyd as Commander Krug, aboard the Klingon bird of prey. Interesting side note about the birds of prey. I get really wound up as a Star Trek fanatic when they say that the Klingons developed these ships. They didn't. They got these ships from the Romulans. The Romulans got the heavier D7s. The Klingons got the birds of prey with the functioning cloaking device, and that's why the ship looks like a bird, because it is of Romulan design.
Yep. Okay, so basically at this point, she sends over the tapes of all the Genesis stuff, which is pretty cool. She runs it through and then mentions she looked at it, so he blows up the transport with everybody on it, and everybody dies.
Boom, y'all.
So there's our bad guy, and he's been introduced. The Enterprise crawls into space dock. The same space dock. I think they use this as far through as Next Generation. They use the space dock over and over. Mm-hmm. I don't remember which movies it appears in, but this is our first appearance of the big space dock. And we get to see the USS Excelsior, which, gosh, it really impresses us in Star Trek VI.
Just so you know, that space dock appeared in Star Trek 3, Star Trek 4, Star Trek 5, Star Trek 6, Star Trek Generations, which is Star Trek 7. And I think that's the last time we see it.
So yeah, it made 5 movies, and all through the TNG era, they popped up space dock here and there.
Yep.
So we get there, they get in, and immediately there's a break-in in Spock's quarters. Of course, we walk in, and Kirk hears what he thinks is Spock's voice. Jim. I think they got a little liberal with the Nimoy voiceovers.
Oh yeah, that was intended, just specifically to trick the viewer. Jim, take me home.
Country Roads?
Yep. That's right.
If I had my guitar, I'd be playing the riffs right now.
That's
anyway.
Right, Spock Denver.
So we find out it's actually McCoy, and he's got his wiring is seriously loose, so they drug him up, haul him out to the loony bin.
That's right.
Well, not quite to the loony bin yet, but they haul him off medical. The commander of Starfleet comes in, congratulates him, says, "Hey, Scotty, you're going over to Excelsior, and we're shit-canning the Enterprise."
Yay! I mean, aw. Like, wait a minute.
Which is a nice kick in the nuts. So let's see here. Where do we go from there? So, of course, we cut back to our Klingons, and replay the cool Pixar footage from the last movie of the Genesis effect. Mm-hmm. And, of course, hey, this is a great weapon. We're going to go and take it for the Empire, even though we're trying to have peace with the Federation. Let's go start shit, because we're Klingons. Mm-hmm. Yay!
That's pretty much what they do. They start shit.
Yeah. So we cut to the Genesis planet, where the USS Grissom rolls into space dock. I mean, that design, I think they use that all the way through to the very end of Generations.
Yep, that's right.
Next Generation, I mean.
Yeah, the Grissom is a Gagarin class scientific vessel, and yes, they do use it even in TNG.
Yep, that one makes an appearance. So the ship arrives, and we get reintroduced to David Marcus and Savick 2.0 because Kirstie Alley is left.
That's right. Well, that's right. And then Robin Curtis, I'm just going to go on record, even though she's probably not watching this episode, Robin Curtis made a better Savick.
Just admit you had them both in your spank bank.
Had?
So, okay, yeah. So, the Genesis planet apparently is growing fast and acting really weird. And holy crap, there's life on the planet. Animal life, which shouldn't be there. I wonder who it could be. So, of course, after they argue with the captain, they beam down to the planet to go look. So we cut back to Kirk and the gang. They're standing in Kirk's place, having a drinks and being all melancholy. Scotty's not there for some reason, and McCoy's obviously getting looked at a little bit. When Sarek shows up and says, "Why the hell didn't you bring him back, you bastard?" and then beats the shit out of Kirk. No, that's not what happens.
It'd
But
be cool.
I would have liked to see
if it
Sarek
did.
beat the shit out of Kirk. But basically, he goes on that Spock would have made sure that he should have been brought back. So, of course, he says, okay, I'm mind melding with you. Don't argue. Okay, boom, mind meld. Oh, it's not there. Oh, here we go again. So, obviously, they said, it's not there. Crap. So, let's go and look at the tape, which seems rather cinematically shot for security tapes on board the Enterprise. Mm-hmm. They have really good security cameras because that is cinematic shit. Really cinematic.
There's some nice big Panaflex cameras on the.
Wow. If I had Panaflex security cameras, that would be awesome.
You think that's great? Just wait till we talk about Star Trek 4 and the somehow security footage of outside the Enterprise as what happens to it happens.
Oh, yeah. You kind of messed that one up, folks. So, where were we? Okay, so they, of course, did this very beautiful security footage. They, of course, find that it looks like McCoy got mind melded. And we get the zoom and enhance cliche. So, let's get this out. Because CinemaSins needs that one. Okay. So, let's see here. Where do we get? So, on the Genesis planet, David and Savick 2.0 have gone down to go search for Spock. Say it with me.
Roll credits.
Thank you. I like that. So they go and find the torpedo tube. There's these giant-ass microbes all around it. That was their life form. They look in, and it's empty.
Yeah, those microbes, I'm just going to say, they look like giant ravioli.
Delicious. Don't worry. They get bigger and evolve into more messed up things. In other words, tentacle porn.
Yep, it's Star Trek hentai.
Yes. Which, of course, when you add photon torpedoes, obviously somebody gets their torpedoes photoned here. They get their photons torpedoed. One of the two. Either way, it's National Nut Day as we record this. So, I'll let you draw your own conclusions, folks. So, obviously, they detect something else, so they keep walking. So, we go back to Commander Starfleet. Kirk's talking to him, saying, please, can we go back to Genesis Planet? Oh, no, it's completely banned, so nobody can go back there. So, Kirk leaves and says, okay, we're going to Genesis Planet. We're going to have to steal the Enterprise. Yay.
Don't forget McCoy trying to book a...
That's what happens next. McCoy goes to a bar, finds some guy with whatever alien they could come up with by pasting shit to somebody's face, and he's saying, Genesis! And, of course, that gets security over, and McCoy tries the Vulcan neck pinch, and I think he's less successful than Lone Star. So he gets thrown in the loony bin. Now, back on the Genesis planet, David and Savick 2.0 are going and looking for Spock, possibly. And, of course, they're walking, and it's getting snowy, and they pick up another life form, so they start heading toward it. So the rescue is on to save McCoy. Kirk and Sulu go to rescue. Kirk, of course, gives him some drugs and makes Vulcan hand gesture jokes, and, whoa.
Just a mess.
To which McCoy Spock goes, ooh, that's special. What a lovely tea party. So, meanwhile, Sulu's standing there and gets somebody to call him Tiny and then kicks his ass, and they head out. So, Scotty is over on Excelsior. He says goodnight and says, okay, see you, bye, screw the ship. And they cut to Uhura, who is sitting there and listening to some asshole spout off of, oh, I wish this was exciting. Okay, I'll point a phaser at you. Hey, everybody, get on the thing. I'll beam you over, and then I'll show up at the end of the movie because I didn't really want to be in this movie for some reason. I don't know. Beam sends him over the Enterprise. Scotty's over there already, and Chekhov finally shows up because we don't know what happened to him. He's Chekhov.
Yeah,
he's probably going to survive it. He's probably going to make it through more than 3 movies in this timeline. Rest in peace, Hampton. Okay, so they, of course, fire up the Enterprise and pull out, and Scotty opens the doors, and Excelsior goes to yellow alert and starts going. Dun, 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 dun.
Like
Comes out
Space
after.
Jaws. Dun 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 dun.
Ooh. So Enterprise takes off, and Excelsior gets ready to go for warp speed.
And then that's when we figure out. Well, that's when we find out Excelsior is actually a Fiat. or a Chevy. How about that? We'll call it a Chevy.
Or just a Ford. Fix or repair daily. Found on the road dead. Shall I continue?
Sure.
Yeah. I'll just continue with actually going. By the way, is this another case of there's no other ships in the sector other than Excelsior to go and intercept Enterprise?
Yep.
What, they have 3 ships? Is that all is what Starfleet has? They have the Enterprise, Excelsior, and I guess the Grissom, and that's it.
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, they blew up Reliance, so that's
why there's Grissom.
Because they didn't have they needed a third ship.
And when they blow up Grissom, that's why they get another Enterprise. And when they blow up Enterprise, that's why they get, and so on. And they'll get 2 ships, and they'll get 2 ships, and so on, and so on.
I mean, seriously, the Starfleet doesn't have many ships. I mean, I'll give credit where credit is to the Abrams verse, is that when they went to go deal with the situation over Vulcan, they sent a whole bunch of ships.
Yeah, it was a little bit different. They were CGI ones. It was a lot cheaper to send those.
You're right. CGI ships are cheaper than models.
Correct.
Of course, all they have to do is do the mirror thing. I mean, TNG had a bunch of ships. They didn't have CGI. They just mirror, 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 mirror. Hey, look, there's a whole bunch of Enterprises. We'll put 50 Enterprises on the screen through compositing because we're not lazy asses like Star Trek 3.
And 4. And 5.
Well, Star Trek 5 is lazy in many ways.
Wait till we talk about Star Trek 6. At least they had 2 ships.
Yeah.
3.
We actually
3.
Get this. Yeah,
we saw 3.
Excelsior actually.
4.
Excelsior
actually,
does something
4.
in that movie.
We see Excelsior, we see Kronos 1, we see Enterprise, and we see Chang's ship.
It's like 4 ships?
4.
Holy crap nuts.
4. Of course, they blow one of them up, so it's like, oh, fuck, now we're down to 3 again.
Shit! Ah!
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I realize I swore on this. I don't normally swear here on Treknicity Live. It's when I get around Patrick, we slip into our 3x2 ways, and that's
I haven't said anything that bad
no,
yet.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's only
Yet. Okay, so back on Genesis Planet, David and Savick 2.0 find a little boy. The first of 5 actors that are going to play Spock in this movie. Because, they needed 5 people to play Spock. Nimoy's number 5, obviously.
Well, it'd be kind of worried if it was number 7.
As Spock, they had name Nimoy. Yeah. I looked at this. This was kind of important. So, of course, they're talking, say, hey, we want to get him up here. Oh, we'll call Starfleet. Oh, no, there's interference. And out pops the Klingon ship, and of course, target their weapon, target their engines only. Boom! There goes the Grissom. Crap! We're down to 3. We're down to 2 ships in Starfleet again. Shit! And of course, this isn't what Krug wanted, so he blows that Klingon away.
He blows that Klingon away. He shoots him with his phaser ray.
Wouldn't that be the disruptor ray?
It was, yeah.
You're slipping.
No, it's just because disruptor is 3 syllables, phaser 2.
You can fit 3 syllables in the phrase in the same space.
Look, I have no doubt that you can fit 3 syllables in the same space.
I can fit about 10 syllables in the space of 2 syllables because I'm that good. Come to think of it, I'm the best I ever had. So obviously with the Grissom being blown up and only 2 vessels left in Starfleet, David and Savick 2.0 pack up Spock Boy and start hoofing it for some place that's not a pile of snow, because for some reason Spock Boy wandered into a pile of snow.
Well, because it was the desert. He was going into the desert, but the desert started snowing.
Yes, in the snowy desert.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously he's all alone and in the sound of silence. Hello, darkness, my old friend.
I thought we were talking about I've been through the desert with Spock with no name.
Okay, so the Klingons beam down and they're on the way chasing after him because Krug wants some hostages. But first, we find out that David is a cheating bastard and took a shortcut using something called protomatter, which, of course, means 2.0 Saavik gets to deliver this is what happens when you mess with things and you use and you cheat on science and you disrupt the natural order, because whatever dogma they're trying to harp on in the things, because we got to always have some environmental message in every Star Trek.
Well, at least they're not going after whales.
Yeah, thankfully. Okay, so meanwhile, Krug finds the torpedo pod, and we got tentacle porn.
Yep, it's space hentai.
Microwave is turned into a giant, space hentai, and he squeezes it to death because, hey, I'm a Klingon. Watch me squeeze this thing today. Look at the black stuff coming out of this thing. Blah, blah.
Say, is he a Klingon or is he Sam Kinison? I'm not gonna go that far. I've already dropped the F-bomb in this episode, completely out of character for me when I do this show. So yeah. Anyways, going forward.
So meanwhile, Saavik and David are getting ready to deal with the Klingons. Let's see here.
Crew gets called back up to the ship.
Well, not quite yet. He's still got to go find. He's still hunting prisoners. Meanwhile, it gets dark for some reason really quickly, and gets daytime very, very fast for some reason, because this is Genesis planet and nothing makes sense. So it gets dark, and Saavik warns David that, oh no, Spock's going to get horny. Okay, Ponfar, but yeah, same thing. Either way, there's some finger banging coming pretty soon, because when Spock starts going through the Ponfar, of course the fingers come out, and it's the finger banging thing. Yeah, I don't know.
It's like, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to have sex or start a fire? Yes. Shut up.
So, of course, Enterprise arrives, and for a moment they saw. I can't talk. They thought they saw something. For just a moment, Scout Cuss Wessel.
Of
course, they're a little paranoid coming in. They don't see Grissom, so they're calling out for it just in case. But the Klingons have now got David and Saavik 2.0 and Spock Boy. So crew goes up because, hey, it's time to do some fighting. So they cloak and they start. They cloaked and they start on the approach to the Enterprise. And of course, Kirk, can. Hey, look, there's a ripple thingy. I guess that's probably something. That might be a cloaked vessel.
Maybe.
So they're ready for it. It decloaks. They fire the photon torpedoes.
They photon
their torpedoes, and the Klingon ship gets hit, and Krug's Targ gets killed. Aww. Guess he's going to have to eat some Targ. Some heart of Targ. Not as good as Gah, though. Which is best served live.
That's right.
Remember that. So, after the Klingon ship gets hit, they spin around and say, F that. Boom! Fire back at the Enterprise, which, of course, shields didn't come up because Scotty sucks at automating, obviously. And their automation is apparently worse than the current stuff with the Alexas and the like. And no, shut up. Sorry, mine went off as soon as I said her name because she's a bitch. Yeah, obviously, Scotty's automation is worse than that because the shields don't come up, the Klingons fire a couple torpedoes, and Enterprise is pretty much dead in the water. So after some bullshitting back and forth, Krug says, "I'll give you 2 minutes, and then you'll surrender your ship." And Kirk is like, "Ah, damn it! So let's blow it up, because why not? This ship's kind of old anyway, and they're going to retire it, so let's blow it up." They go through the destruct sequence, which is long and drawn out, because everything has to be long and drawn out in a Star Trek movie, because there's just not that much that happens. Let's be honest. That's the biggest problem with Star Trek movies, is there's not a lot of stuff that happens. So let's drag it out. Wrath of Khan was pretty cool, but they still had to drag it out. Kind of following the Star Trek The Motionless Pictures footsteps, where they drag it out and out and out and out and out and in and out and in and out. And I better stop there before I get too excited. So, of course, they beam down to the planet. Just as the Klingon beam on, they walk in and get a countdown, and they're like, "Oh, crap. The computer's talking. 7, 6, 5. Get out of there!" Boom! And, of course, the Enterprise explodes in glory, burning through the primary hull. The primary explodes, and the ship goes careening into the planet. And we get to see the Enterprise die for the first time ever, and not the last time ever. Which, of course, Star Trek Beyond, of course, copied this too. Hey, it's the third movie. Let's blow up the ship. And since there's no second movie, we don't have to talk about that. But I'm hoping that they can get past their problems and get their fourth movie, so I see how they deal with the whales.
Space whales.
And I can't wait to see how God shows up in Star Trek V.
Oh, man.
And will Chris Pine direct that?
I want to see Zach Quinto in the gravity boots, the rocket boots.
Yes, Zach Quinto in the gravity boots, with Kirk in his arms.
That's Spurk. Spurk.
With Zach Quinto, we no longer have to imagine if Mr. Spock was gay,
because Mr. Spock is now gay.
Very gay.
Whoa.
Okay, let's go on. So Kirk, of course, calls up the crew. "Hey, Krug, I'm alive!" Krug beams down, of course, and says, "Everybody get out of here! Leave Spock boy, because he's gotten weird." Just before this, his face goes all over the place. That's because I'm guessing he was in pain enough that he'd just take his Klingon and just throws him. He's like, "Get out of here!" Ah! And he lands on like the other side of the planet. Planet starts exploding and turns into a molten mess. So, of course, Kirk and Krug fight to the death, and Kirk, of course, kicks his ass because it's Kirk. Somehow they fight like complete pansies. I don't know why. I was like double axe handles and hit you with a stick. And
because
you know
what? It's because everybody was Kirk Fu fighting.
Yeah, a little judo chop here and there, whatever.
Yep.
So, of course, Kirk manages to impersonate Krug just enough to get beamed up.
What's the line?
That's for you.
Molts.
Crap.
Choi choo.
Oh, crap. I forgot one important detail. When the Enterprise gets blasted, Krug says, "Oh, I'm going to kill a hostage," and David dies. Nobody cares. This will become important in Star Trek VI, but honestly, who gives a shit about David? He was kind of boring. David Marcus was a douche. And he fought like a pansy. It's like, bad going on! Whoa! That's going to hurt.
That's going to leave a mark.
What a dent in his social life. So they beam up to the ship. Kirk taunts the last Klingon, throws him the brig. They fly to Vulcan, and we get some Vulcan mind meldy action.
What's the ceremony called? The foul torpan.
Yes.
The refusion.
Yep. So they mind meld Spock back together. McCoy looks all, this sucked, but at least I got Spock out of my head. I don't like Spock in me. Wait, what? We may see a different version of that if with the current Spock and McCoy. Carl Urban. Carl Urban, it would be logical for you to bend over. Wait, what? Okay, that's not how that's not how Spock gets into McCoy, and that's not how he gets out. Of course, Spock comes back, and he kind of looks at everybody. He kind of looks at Savick a little weird. It's like, where did we just have the finger earlier? Yes, Spock. And, of course, he comes before Kirk. It's like, I am kind of messed up, but I remember your name is Jin. And why did you save me? And, of course, the needs of the one outweigh the needs of the many. The end. Adventure continues because we got Spock back, so we're ready to do another movie. And we're stuck on Vulcan with a bird of prey and no way to come back without being arrested.
Whoops.
What can we do? Oh, let's go back. Let's fly back to the 20th century and save some whales and save Earth because humpback whales were talking with an alien probe.
You know the stupid thing is,
what the shit comes up with this shit?
Yeah, why didn't they just stay on Earth in the 20th century? Now that after they regenerated the crystals and the bird of prey, they could have just stayed there and found other ways to save the whales and just like not had to go back and deal with all that crap. But no,
we got to go back, get us a new damned Enterprise.
Yeah, we do.
Which of course will be a complete piece of shit, so we can make jokes about it in Star Trek V because we don't know how to make a movie anymore apparently.
Until Star Trek VI comes along and then saves the franchise again.
So we're gonna give it 3 Vulcan hand salutes because this one was. Okay, it wasn't a great movie. It wasn't a pile of dog shit. It was the movie to retcon the fact that we killed Spock in the last one. That's pretty much the function of this movie. So it's the middle. It's not the Empire Strikes Back of the 2, 3, 4 trilogy.
No.
We got our good movie in Star Trek 2. We got our movie in Star Trek 3, and then we're gonna get the. Okay, I will compare Return to the Jedi and Star Trek 4 because it's a frickin' joke either way. It's like, okay, this is what we get to cap this off. Crap nuts.
Well, double dumbass on you.
Yeah. Strangely, they know how to curse in Star Trek 3.
Yeah.
They know how to curse in Star Trek 3, but we get on Earth. Hey, we're going to be dumbasses now.
Of course.
Hello, computer.
Just use the keyboard.
We'll save this shit for next week.
That's right. Right. So that's all we have time for on this episode of Treknicity Live because I've hardly said crap and you've done your review again. Lovely. Fun times.
1,000 miles an hour.
That's right. So as always, just remember everybody, rock out with your Spock out. We'll see you later, folks. Bye.